Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another week, another edition of the WardiTV Monday number 6, your weekly dose of Wardi Open StarCraft. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. I'm, of course, host VIP. With me, I'm joined by the people in the chat, by these amazing players, and as always, by my plushies as well. Bienvenidos, everyone. Bienvenidos. Shema. The bracket is live. The bracket is stacked, and we are jumping into the round of 32. We have our first match. We have our first round. It's going to be a ZVP. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Alkiana, we have the Canadian Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Basilisk. It is a Trigger. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Taiwanese Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Offside Esports. It is Rex. Here we go. We have our first round. We have our first matchup. If you're in the chat, you know what time it is. Predictions. Predictions are now open. Place your bets on who you believe. Oh, my apologies. Hold on. That's not correct. Un momento. On who you believe will take the series. Best of luck. Bam. There we go. Predictions in the chat should now be open. Should be open, and now we can just dive right into this. There we go. Sorry, it's just messing with some stuff. But now we can just dive into our initial round, into our ZVP. Again, this is going to be a best of 3, and this is your weekly open event. Designed to, of course, replace ESL Open Cup Asia, as the EPT season is on hiatus. We are in the off-season, and we've all stepped up in our own way to fill in that void, whether it's ourselves with the Turtle Tussle, whether it's Wardy with the WardiTV Monday, whether it's with Stego Monday Cup, whether it's with the KSRS. Plenty of open cups, plenty of open events throughout the week. All the content, all the StarCraft. Until then, though, Hatchgas Pool. Standard opener out of Rex, going for a Hatchgas Pool. Likewise, Trigger going for a standard opener himself. Did mine through the patch on the right-hand side, but there's nothing really to be done here on the right either. It has just been opened up, but nothing too major, as Trigger is going for a gate expand into Cybercore. So far, everything looking as it should, and I do dearly miss these players. Again, Trigger, he has been absent this past week of StarCraft. We haven't seen too much of him in these online open cups, has otherwise been preoccupied, so I do appreciate that we get to experience some Trigger once again, as we did miss him last night, and there was no Total Tussle this morning. Oh, But now, though, does dip in. Likewise, Rex just going to be joining up, soon to be taking a third base. Trigger going for a Stargate opener back at home. Everything so far looking as it should. It's going to be a Stargate into Oracle, into a third. So far, nothing really out of the norm yet. Now, when it comes to Trigger, the reason why I'm excited to see him again is because Trigger has been improving a lot over the past couple of months. Trigger, of course, has been staying in Korea. His practice has, it feels like it shows now in his results. His practice has really been paying off. Not just Trigger, Australia as well. Australia's not in Korea, but again, the practice that he had in Korea with Clem is really showing off here, and yeah, it's been amazing to see the growth of these NA players. See them more consistently bring down these kind of bigger names in Korea and Europe, and we'll see if that trend continues here tonight. As for now, Adepts are moving out. Just have our initial Adepts here across the map. So far, Rex, he is keeping up. Again, these Adepts, they can one-shot workers. Two Adepts can one-shot a drone, so they have to be taken seriously. So far, Rex, he is keeping up. He does mass up a couple of links behind this, again, just to keep up with the shade, just to make sure that Trigger does not commit, and we can just settle into a longer game schedule as we do commit to the shade. One drone goes down. A nice positioning here in the mineral line. Second drone goes down as well. Just overall very nice movement here with the Adepts. They will be cleaned up, and so far 2 Adepts with 2 drones, not ideal for Trigger. He was hoping for a little bit more value, a little bit more damage, and now that the Adepts have gone down, Lings, they can move out, they can counterattack, and they can delay the third. Ooh, so Trigger, he's in a bit of trouble. The Oracle moves out, spots the Lings, and the Oracle has to be kept back at home. Ideally, Trigger wanted to move out to threaten the mineral lines and to get some economic damage, but the Oracle has to stay back at home because those Adepts just fell. That is the risk you take when you are overly aggressive with those initial Adepts. Probe goes down, Oracle is stuck at home, second Oracle has arrived, now Trigger can move out, and now he can try to deal some counter damage. So Oracles move out across the map. It's going to be a triple Oracle opener out of Trigger. Third Oracle's on the way. Meanwhile, on the bases, we have a Spore in the natural, we have a Spore in the main, and we have a Spore on the way at the third. So Rex is getting ready. Trigger diving in, Queens are in position. And Spore as well. So far, going to be 1 drone. Oh my god. It's going to be 3 drone kills. One of the Oracles takes a lot of hits, takes a lot of damage, but will get away. Can regenerate HP. Oh my god, getting up to 6 drones. Very nice damage, catching some of those transferring workers. 6 drones going down. Massive pickups here out of Trigger. Meanwhile, back at home, his third base is getting up and running. Adepts are getting in position. I do think that there would have been potential for some Ling harass to try and threaten the third base, but alas, it is too late for that. Now we get the warp in, now we get Adepts, now we have defended, and we can see Trigger transitioning into that mid game with +1 and Blink. Forge on the way for +1. It's going to be slightly faster Twilight Council, slightly later Forge. With this, Trigger can be a little bit more aggressive a little bit sooner. It does mean that his +1 upgrade is delayed, but it also means that he can be active with Stalkers. I mean, that much sooner as well. Yeah. So Trigger can be more active, he can be more aggressive. Oracle diving back in, getting one more drone. And the drone kills, they are stacking up. And F's are caught out once again. So, I mean, good Ling movement and good Ling positioning here from Rex. But alas, it's been 10 drone kills so far. It is slowly adding up. Trigger races back, just keeping up with those Lings. Behind this, working towards a Templar Archives. Looks like the splash damage choice for Trigger is not going to be Colossus, but it's going to be Storm instead. At least it does seem to be the case. Template to Archons into Storm. Meanwhile, back at home, Rex is not skipping the Roach Warren. He is going into Roach Ravager. +1 and range is on the way. Now, this can eventually lead into Hydra Lurker, but for now, Roach Ravager is going to be what he needs to hold on to survive, as Blink is almost done. It's getting there. Blink is on the way. Trigger already moving out with his Stalkers. He does have to be careful. Surround would shut these Stalkers down, but that's why we have the Oracles to support. Whether it's with Stasis Traps, whether it's with their Pulsar Beams. They can keep these Stalkers safe. Trigger does maintain this position. Behind this, Rex taking a bit of a chance here. He initially was opening up Roach Ravager, and he is, but behind this, he throws down a Spire hidden at the natural. Risky maneuver out of Rex. We'll see if he can get away with it. We'll see if it goes unscattered. I mean, Mutas, they can pop off in PvZ. They can do so much across the map if unscattered, but otherwise, if Trigger realizes what's going on, he can shut it down. Meanwhile, the Stasis, oh my god, a massive Stasis here on the Lings. Does deny the surround. And Trigger, he blinks back to the Zonaga, denying any kind of service area. Oh, and these Oracles are trading very well here. Taking down so many Lings, the Roaches. The Oracles are running out of energy. And Rex is slowly breaking out. But again, just the efficiency. Like Trigger, he was so patient with those blinks. You know, he didn't overextend, didn't overreact. Slowly blinking back, did trade very well. But no scouting. The Spire, it's about to finish. It is about to finish. Quickly checking the vision here. Trigger, he has not scouted. He has not seen. Does not know what's going on. He has spotted the expansion. He has seen extra gases. This is a bit of a tell. But honestly, seeing all these gases being taken this early on, I mean, it could just be Hydra Lurker tech, right? We could, like, Rex could just be taking into Hydras, into Lurkers, into a Hive. Doesn't have to be Mutas. Brutal Storm here on the Lings. Trigger's moving out. I think regardless, even though Trigger doesn't know what's going on, because he sees, I mean, the saturation, he does know that his opponent is teching. And he does know that Rex should be vulnerable. And he is. Rex doesn't really have much to work with. Mutas are on the way, 11 Roaches are in production. But Trigger is pushing in, and he has 4 Storms available. That's a lot of Storm. Ooh, one of them gets baited out. Okay, down to 3. 3 Storms left. Mutas have popped out. Going to be rotating towards the left-hand side, towards the natural. Again, these natural, all the mineral lines are exposed. No defenses in the natural, no defenses in the main. There are cannons on the outside of the third base, and the fourth is still exposed as well. Trigger has no idea what's been going on. It is working towards Sky Toss. But I'm sure he more intends to get into carriers and tempests more than anything. Until now, as the Mutas are revealed. Probes are falling. Gonna be 3, 4, 5 probe kills already. Rex pushing through the center. Trigger trying to keep up. 7 probe kills. Oracle's getting caught out. So far, some good damage here with these Mutas. Getting even more damage in the main. Meanwhile, Rex will take the Storms to the face. And massive Storms on the Roach Ravager. Oh, we're not done! Another massive Storm connecting. But the High Templar are going down. Massive pickoffs. No more Storms left. And that's 21 probes. 21 probe kills only to the Muta. Yeah, the damage is insane. More Ravagers morphing in. That's a lot of Ravagers. Can Trigger pull off this defense? He's up against the wall. His economy did take quite a blow. Goal base under fire. Jesus, so many Ravagers here for Rex. They are a little bit vulnerable. The models are breaking out. Prism does escape. A good chunk of roaches or Ravagers do fall. And Trigger's holding. Trigger, he does hold. He does shut this down. What's crazy to me, Trigger just lost 21 probes and he still has 84 workers. Like, his economy is still looking very strong. Carrier production has begun. The goal base is making up for some otherwise losses earlier, which means he even has a greater economy, as the Protoss has the gold and the Zerg does not. There we go. Rex, he does reinforce. Ooh, whilst they do connect. Getting on top of the Immortals. Oh, there's still 3 Immortals in total. They get so much damage done. 2 Immortals go down. Rex does force back Trigger. Rex is somewhat holding. I say somewhat because, I mean, the carriers, they're halfway done. They're coming. Trigger does go for the warp in into the main. Going for the mineral line. Forcing back reinforcements. Oh, the Prism takes a lot of hits from the Spore. Rex will defend. He is forced back home. But as time progresses, I mean, the carriers, they've arrived. They have arrived. 3 of them are going to be spawning in. Trigger banking energy on these High Templar, gathering Storm. The goal base still coming into play, of course. Trigger has a bank. Just having a hard time spending it. And Rex, he's on a timer. Trigger does scout the main army. Likewise, he spots the Banelings. Banelings going to be shut down. They didn't really get much done. Some of them do make their way to the mineral line, but yeah, they are cleaned up. At the same time, the main army does hit the right-hand side. They're going for the gold, but GG gets called once the carriers get revealed, and Trigger takes game number 1. Whew. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. I am very impressed and very surprised as well that despite Trigger losing so many workers, he lost 21 probes to the Mutas. His worker count was still healthy. It was still 84. It was insane. I mean, the goal base, I'm sure, was a factor. I'm sure it was a factor there, allowing Trigger to recoup those losses and sustain himself despite losing all those probes. But still, that was insane. Despite all that damage, Trigger, he was able to hold his own. Likewise, Rex, he overcommitted to Ravagers, it feels. Because of that, he didn't have as much of a buffer. He was trying to force the issue. And again, we saw that Rex was pretty all in the sense that Rex didn't have Hive. He didn't have Hydras, didn't have Lurkers, didn't have upgrades for the Spire either. Rex, he wasn't really ready for any kind of Skytoss transition. I mean, he wasn't expecting one. He wasn't really expecting Trigger to come out with the carriers when he did. Was a checkmate move from Trigger, and with that, he does take a lead in the series. Does take a lead, and now we're getting ready for game number 2. Let's go. Let us go. There we go. Game 2 is going to be on Ghost River. We are getting ready for Ghost River. Yeah, one of the smaller maps of the map pool. A very short distance by ground as well. Here we go. We'll see if Rex can bounce back. We'll see if Trigger can maintain himself. I mean, I'm hoping for an ace match. I'm hoping to go all the way to game 3, but we'll see. We shall see. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ghost River, we have our Canadian Protoss player, the Blue Protoss representing Basilisk. Leading the series 1-0, it is a Trigger. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the Taiwanese Zerg player, the Red Zerg representing Offside Esports. It is Rex. Currently down in the series, we'll see if he can bounce back and force that ace match. I think we all know that he has it in him, of course. Rex, he has brought down some bigger and bigger names, especially in WTL, in these shorter formats. And I'm curious what he has in store for us on a smaller map. Rex, he's more than willing to be aggressive. to go all in if need be. Now Rex taking his natural. Looks like a hatch gas pull, standard opener. Likewise, the trigger going for a gate expand as well. Nothing crazy yet. Nothing wild. Bienvenidos en el chat así, Nikachu, Slow Iran, Slow Joe, Manix, bienvenidos, Wormchick, Shema. Good to see you all. We were live earlier this morning going over viewer replays and going over the STC finals. So this is our second broadcast of the day. And then in like 12 hours time, 12 hours from this message, we're going to be live as well with the Stego Monday Cup. Stego Monday Cup number 2. So plenty of StarCraft, always. Meanwhile, a shout out to CBK Melcott. God, thank you so much for subscribing with Twitch Prime. Thank you. Do appreciate the support. Hope you enjoy the content. Hope you enjoy the StarCraft. Thank you. Do appreciate it. It's thanks to the support that we get on Twitch and Patreon, and of course, and everywhere really, that we're able to host the events that we do and able to do this as often as we do as well. All the casting. Thank you. Do appreciate it. Hope you enjoy the emotes. Hope you enjoy the replay packs. The casting. As we're settling in. Again, nothing really too crazy happening in the early game. Just standard openers. You know, gate expand into Cybercore. Likewise, hatch gas pull out of Rex, taking his third base. Trigger will confirm that the third is being taken. He's trying to delay for as long as he can. But the probe is going to be zoned away, and Rex will expand. Now, when it comes to aggression and all-ins that we see on Ghost River, it does very often occur off of 3 bases, or even just under 3 base saturation. We've seen plenty of German taxis, or just Queen walks across the map. Doesn't take long at all to move out. So we'll see when and if Rex cuts worker production. For now, joining up. Trigger moving out with the Adepts. Shading towards the natural. Doesn't quite commit. Just cancelling, keeping Rex on his toes. Again, plenty of links in position. Trigger doesn't go for it. Pulling away. Does pull away. Meanwhile, Stargate Opener once again going into Oracle. Oracles are moving out to harass. This time, Trigger doesn't lose the Adepts early on. If you recall, last time, it did force Trigger to keep his Oracle back at home to defend because he lost his Adepts. Looks like a similar scenario, as Trigger's Adepts have not actually returned back home. They're sticking around across the map. Looks like they're waiting for the opportune moment when the third base gets saturated, then they can shade in. Meanwhile, Rex so far is still droning up. Getting up to 2 base saturation. So far, everything looking as it should. Trigger moving out. When it came to Trigger's Oracle Harass last game, he did get up to 10 worker kills, if you recall. Like 10 or so drones. We'll see if he can do the same. Dips in. Queens are ready. Spore is in position as well in the natural. Spore in the main. The Oracles do bypass the Queens. They get 2 drone kills. But just 2. So far, decent good defense here by Rex, and nothing major loss yet. As he's moving out across the map, the Oracle does spot the Lings. When Trigger is getting in position, he's ready. He's ready back at home. Meanwhile, those 2 Adepts from earlier, they do shade into the third, but not much saturation going on, so they don't actually get much economic damage. They lay some mining, but not much else than that. Ooh, meanwhile, one Oracle does fall. Yeah, Trigger overextending. Rex going to his lair. So far, no Roach Warren. Interesting. If this game goes on any longer without a Roach Warren, then this could just be Ling Hydra, which is quite risky on a small map like this, but okay. Gases are being taken. Adepts are shading in towards that natural, towards the third. Lings are ready for this, but not that many Lings. And again, there's no Roaches. Oh, no Roaches to defend. Lings a trade against the Adepts. At the same time, Oracles, they get 5 drone kills. I mean, Oracles and Adepts. 5 worker kills in total, up to 9. Nine drones go down. And it looks like Rex is taking into Hydras. No Roach Roar, no Baneling Nest. He's taking gases. I mean, the other option would be Mutas, but I don't like the idea of Mutas on Ghost River. Just because counterattacks hit so quickly and so fast. So hard. And there it is. Hydra Den has been thrown down. So Ling Hydra out of Rex. Now, thankfully, Trigger is going for the same style. Trigger, he's going earlier Blink into +1, into Storm. He's going for the same kind of overall build that he went for in the previous game. Which means Trigger isn't being overly aggressive. It means that Rex, he can afford to skip Roaches. Oracle does confirm the Hydra Den. Trigger is aware. Now, there's a bit of a give and take here. On the one hand, Rex, he will have a better army early on against Stalkers. Against Stalker-based compositions with Ling Hydra. The downside, of course, is Storm. Like, Storm is going to hit like a truck. They can annihilate Ling Hydra real quick. As Lings are looking for a way in. Lings towards the right and left hand sides. They go for the surround, but there is Blink. Rex does catch a shield battery. Not much else. Pulls away. Joining up to a decent working count of 71. Just over 3 base saturation. Hydra production has begun. And as Rex is taking extra gases, Rex, he can try to take up a little bit further here and go into Lurkers. We'll see. As that is 22 Hydras. That's a lot of Hydras. 22 Hydras. Oh my god. Rex is not taking extra gases. He is not droning. Yeah, it looks like Rexy wants to commit with Ling Hydra. And it's all going to come down to the Storms. Sentries would also be ideal in this position. As you can imagine, without any Ravagers, Sentries that would completely just slice up this army. And here we go. Here comes Rex. Again, cutting workers at 71. No extra gases, no extra tech, no Hive, Infestation Bit, Lurker Den, no nothing. Just purely Ling Hydra. And he's sneaking up on the natural. And Trigger has no idea. Oh, never mind. He does spot the Rux. He is aware. Trigger does respond. Getting in position. Gets a revelation. How many storms? 5. 5 High Templar, 5 storms. So far. Oof. Meanwhile, brutal storm on the main army. And now Rex transitions. Now he takes gases. There's Lurker Den, Infestation Bit, Hive Tech. Rex, it looks like he realized that his timing has kind of come and gone, and now he's forced to transition. And the scary thing here is that this was not the original plan. These gases are delayed. The Lurker Den and Infestation Bit, they're delayed as well. Initially, Rex wanted to go ham with this army, and he spent a lot of resources on all these Hydras, and he's not making use of them. He's not making use of them, and now suddenly momentum is in favor of Trigger. Rex has to buy time. He has to buy time for Lurkers. Lurkers are still a ways off. Oof. And as I mentioned before, he is very vulnerable to this army. Remember, no Banelings. No Baneling Nest. No splash damage from the side of the Zerg. Ling's getting ready for a surround. How many High Templar? 7 High Templar. Ay, ay, ay. Oh my, the Stasis. Stasis goes off, masses on the Hydras. And now it's the time for Trigger to move out. It's time for him to hit his stride, to push in. Lurkers are on the way. Another massive storm. There's full Lurkers in production. Trigger, does he spot them? He does. He does spot the Lurkers. They're almost done. Trigger, he dives in, does focus them down. There's 3 Lurkers left. Up. He gets on top of the Lurkers. They will not finish. I mean, 3 of them do, but yeah, they get targeted down instantly. No Lurkers are ready for this. The storms are all spent. And Trigger, he's done it. He's broken through. Takes out all the Hydras, the Lurkers, the Queens, and there's nothing left. GG gets called, and Trigger will take the series at 2-0. GG. GG, well played. Trigger does take it. Again, Rex, he was very committed with Ling Hydra, as we were pointing out. Rex, he made the decision to cut workers, to cut gases, to cut tech, and he was going for like this kind of big Ling Hydra timing, or I don't want to say all in, but he was very committed with Ling Hydra, and he needed to get damage done with it. Once he realized that he couldn't, Then he started transitioning, and there was a window. There was a window before he got into lurkers where he was vulnerable, and we saw Trigger move out and break Rex just before the lurkers were ready. We saw 9 lurkers in production at the end there, but they barely didn't finish. And also a big reason for that isn't just that window, isn't just that timing, but also the map. We're loading into a small map like Ghost River. It takes very little time to move from base to base, from one end to the other, so the map as well was also working against Rex in that sense, in that situation where he had to buy time. GG. GG, well played. Trigger does take it, and with that, he advances on to the next round. Does advance on, and the question becomes, who is going to be facing off against him? Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the back at yourselves. All that Osu's paying off. True. God damn it, Trigger. Not gonna lie, mate, whenever we cast, whenever we finish, we always raid, right? We always raid someone whenever we finish casting. And I always look at at my followers list. I was like, who's streaming right now? Who can we raid? And I see, oh, Trigger streaming. And every single time it's like, oh, he's streaming Osu. God damn it, Trigger. God damn it. Usually when we raid someone, we usually keep it to StarCraft 2, because that's what most people are interested in. So every single time Trigger is playing Osu, I'm like, God damn it. Shaking my head. It's the Trigger. It's working. It's working, I guess. GG, well played. With that, we have a lot of updates here in the bracket. There's a lot to go over. First things first, though, Trigger advances on to face off against Max Pax in the next round, which means we are hopping servers. We're heading over to... We're heading over into the Americas, and we'll be covering Trigger versus Max Pax up next. It's going to be up next on the channel. Let me quickly set that up as we get ready for the PvP. We need a moment to set things up as the PvPs do continue. Meanwhile, from the top, we do have some other updates coming in. We have Zan versus Geralt in a PvP. They're currently facing off. They're currently mid-series. Winner goes up against Clem in the round 16. Scrolling down, we have Trap. Trap gets a walkover over Sheep. Trap is now up against Gumiho in a PvT. Very spicy PvT, might I add. I hope that's being casted by someone, because that definitely deserves to be covered. Always love Gumiho against Protoss. He's a wild and chaotic player in that matchup. I mean, in general. Scrolling down, we have Creator versus Rebellion. That was the other series that I was tempted to jump on. At the start of the broadcast, the 2 series that spoke to me were Rex and Trigger and Creator Rebellion. In the end, did commit to Trigger and Rex, of course, but, sorry, to Trigger and Rex. But Creator takes down Rebellion 2-0, and Creator, he's now up against Solar in the round of 16. Here we go. Solar, if I'm not mistaken, I believe he is the one and only Zerg player left in the tournament. It was Rex and Solar as the 2 Zergs. Rex just got knocked out. Solar is the only one. This week, there's no Rogue, there's no Dark, there's no Shin, there's no DRG, and there's no Su. So all the other Zerg players in Korea, they're all MIA. It is only Solar. He's on his own, man. He's on his own. But that's also why I was thinking about jumping on Creator Series, because I was like, I should probably cast some Zerg while I can, because otherwise I'm not going to cast any Zerg today. So best of luck to Solar, but by the time we went to the Korean server, they had already started. Like Creator and Rebellion, they already started, so did jump on the next best thing. Scrolling down, we have Skillus versus Luna Sea. Skillus advances on 2-0 to face off against Björn in the next round. Likewise, we have, of course, Trigger versus Max Pax, which is about to begin. We'll slip into those ZMs. Scrolling down, we have Classic. Classic takes down USSV 2-0. Classic up against Oliveira in the round 16. And we have a TVT still ongoing. Ryung versus Negrect. Winner goes up against Hero. And winner of that series goes up against the winner of Cure and Nightmare. Oh boy. Again, a lot of Terran, a lot of Protoss in the bracket. A lot of TVPs and mirror matchups are going to be going on. And, I mean, we're getting into our own mirror matchup with that PvP between Trigger and Max Pax. Is also going to happen. Go. So with that, we will be setting things up. Players are conducting their vetoes as we speak, and we're going to be focusing on the lower half of the brackets, following Trigger into Max Packs into the winner of Oliverian Classic. Again, personally, I would love to cast some Solar at some point tonight, just so we can have a little bit more diversity and, you know, some Zerg action on the channel. But we'll see if we're able to. We'll see if things line up in such a way. We shall see. Just catching up. But it looks like our players will need some time to get their vetoes underway. So we're going to be going on a short break. We'll be going on a short break, and when we return in a couple of minutes, we will have that series. Take this moment to get some snacks, get some water, get some food, get ready for a night of StarCraft, because there's a lot to cover. There's this tournament, there's the KSRS later on tonight, and then there's of course the Stego Monday Cup as well. 3 events back to back to back. So we'll see you soon. See you soon. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to our second series of the night. Welcome to the round 16 of the WardiTV Monday number 6, and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Post Youth, we have the Danish Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Sidestorm Gaming. It is MaxPax. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the Canadian Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing Basilisk. It is Trigger. And you know what time it is if you're in the chats. Predictions are open to get your gamba going, as you can place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Will it be one Protoss player or the other? Up to you to decide. Best of luck. As again, MaxPax is the best Protoss player in all of Europe, and also our most recent Leo Lee champion. Leo Lee Cup champion. True. Did recently win it all against Rogue. Had a very close series against Clem as well. Ooh, and MaxPax even going for the gas, for the gas deal. Don't often see that. But we are opening up, and of course we're loading into Post Youth. Post Youth has a very unique feature, that is a ramp. There's a ramp coming into the main base, so it is very common to open up Gate Expand. As I say that though, Trigger does go for a 2-gate opener, so now it makes sense that MaxPax would go for the gas seal. That will delay the gas income here of Trigger. And MaxPax across the map should be able to expand. Oh my god, so close. Trigger is in position in time. MaxPax forced to throw down the Cyber Core. It's more of a delayed Cyber Core, delayed expansion. And MaxPax, he was hoping to get the Nexus. And Trigger will get away. So we do have a bit of a back and forth. Overall, MaxPax is still being a little bit more economic, going for a single gateway into a faster expansion. He might opt to go for a Stargate before Nexus, but you can see MaxPax banking up those minerals, and the Nexus is going to be thrown down. There we go, Nexus is on the way. Trigger going to be opening up Double Adept. Ooh, sending out his probes. Okay, pulls back with the probe. MaxPax, he pulls back with the probe, trying to get a read on things. Trigger now going to be expanding. Is going to be the Stargate follow-up out of MaxPax. Oh, but Trigger, he is slowly mining through that mineral patch. Oh, he does mine through, but the Adept does scout. And again, cheeky moves to out to Trigger, mining through those minerals, but MaxPax is aware. Now, what does this mean? This means that Trigger does have a way in. Adepts are moving out. MaxPax, unable to wall off in time. Adepts, they will bust into the main base. Or will they? I mean, you can wall that off with a Shade. Speaking of, does Shade in time, does defend. Very clutch defense here out of MaxPax. And with that, he holds. Again, Trigger was going for a cheeky maneuver, but yeah, time and time again, MaxPax, he is ready for it. Ready with that Shade. And as a result, Trigger, he has a bit of catching up to do. Uh-oh. One Adept does Shade in, but just the one. Threads a mineral line, heads into the natural. Does lay mining, getting one probe kill, not bad. Getting, barely not two. Does get the one probe, another Adept Shades in. But again, just one at a time, so it's not as threatening as this otherwise could be. Getting two probes to two Adepts, not the best trade for Trigger. And MaxPax is moving out. It's time for him to be the aggressor himself. Oracle into the main, double Stalker in position. 3 Stalkers in the natural. Oracle is forced back. And so far, Trigger, he's holding his own. Likewise, MaxPax going for his own counter-adept aggression, but Trigger, he does fully wall up. He is preemptively set up for it. Likewise, Trigger taking into Blink, and so was MaxPax. Here we go. Oracle does hit the natural. Ooh, two Adepts do slip. They do slip into the main. Not like this. They do slip in. They can one-shot probes. And probes are going down. Brutal losses for Trigger, losing 3 probes. Losing up to 4. 4 probes to 2 Adepts. Better trade for MaxPax. MaxPax does take an economic lead. And now we'll take a third. We'll take a third basis. See someone saying, I think he let one in intentionally. I don't think so. I think MaxPax would have appreciated more just not losing any workers as opposed to the 2 that he lost. As his Adepts were slightly out of position. But regardless, it was still a better defense out of MaxPax. It's better to lose 2 probes to 2 Adepts than what we saw from Trigger. And this is a bold move. A very bold move. Trigger, he will take the center expansion going for the gold. It's a very exposed base, but considering the deficit that Trigger has, it does make sense. Does make sense to go into the gold. But last MaxPax, he's aware. We have a proxy pylon being set up to reinforce across the map. MaxPax is being set up to deny and to shut down this gold. As the probe is in position to throw down a gateway as well for faster reinforcements. Stalkers are moving out. For the time being, Trigger otherwise preoccupied by the Oracles. And again, MaxPax, he wants to deny that expansion. Dark Shrine is almost done behind this. Base taking a lot of hits. Trigger has Blink of his own, trying to come in from behind. Even catching reinforcements. Oh, not bad. Does get 2. Takes down 2 Stalkers, trading with the main army, reinforcements on the way. And Trigger, he does hold on to the gold. Yeah, better fight for Trigger. Overall, nice movement here, coming in from behind, catching MaxPax off guard, and he does hold on to the gold for now. Bearing in mind, the pylon is done, and more importantly, so is the Dark Shrine. Dark Shrine has completed for MaxPax. He can warp in DTs across the map. And do we have detection? There is a robo. There is a robo. There is an observer. Does pop out in time. So Trigger has detection. DTs will not just end the game, but they can still get damage done. Even if there are observers, even if there are cannons, DTs, they can still wreak havoc. So there is still potential for MaxPax. So we've got an Oracle for each mineral line. Likewise, DT waddles in, but gets shut down. Very nice defense out of Trigger. Does catch the first DT. Forced to recall over. Specifically, he was recalling the Observer. So the Observer does get here in time. Stasis to the main. Up! Oh my god. Clutch blink, but alas, the 3 Stalkers, they get caught out. Ay, ay, ay. At least no economy. At least the probes do escape. But still a brutal pickoff. If it wasn't for the stasis, the Oracle would have gone down. The Oracle is 1 shot away from falling. And does survive. But Trigger, again, even though he had a lower worker count, he has a better economy now with the gold. So he's able to hold his own. Trigger now taking a supply lead. He's up in Stalkers, up in Immortals. MaxPax trying to take his own gold, but I'll be honest, I don't know if MaxPax can hold on to this base. Not in this kind of setup. Trigger, he's up in Immortals. Making more reinforcements. More DTs waddling in. And Trigger, he's waiting for his Warp Prism. Once it does move out across the map, Trigger, he's going to be knocking down that gold. And Army Suit Clash, Trigger trying to reinforce. Wasn't quite ready for this. The Immortal doing a lot in the back line. Stasis has been thrown down. Gets triggered by Trigger. Let's go. Does bait it out. The Trigger. Baits out the Stasis. Prism has arrived. Charge now finishing up. Trigger, he can reinforce. At the same time, DTs do hit the gold, but there is a cannon. There is a cannon in position. MaxPax coming from behind, going for the War Prism. Will snipe it. Prism goes down. Nice pickup. Charge still not done. The slow lots are coming in. Finishing up in 5 seconds. Another Stasis behind this. Up. Does catch 3 Zealots. The overcharge gets popped, and MaxPax, he will hold. He will hold on. Trigger, he has to rebuild that War Prism. At the same time, DTs are waddling in. They haven't done much damage yet, but there's no cannon in the natural. Probes are going down. Trigger otherwise committing. And Trigger is forcing himself all in a way. Does push into natural. Immortal's a little bit too far behind. Stealths are going down. Trigger, he has to back off, but he does get into the mineral line. 20 probe kills. Not bad. 20 probes go down, but MaxPax, he dives on the main army. Delta coming in from behind. A very messy fight. The Immortals are getting picked up. But Trigger, he will hold his own. Takes down the Zelts. More Zelts are coming to reinforce. And MaxPax will force this back. He forces back the main army, but he lost a lot of his economy. Likewise, though, Trigger, he's also committed. Also has been making probes. It's still so close. Can a Trigger break his opponent? Now, +2 is going to finish a little bit faster for Trigger. It is slightly faster here for the Red Protoss. So there's a small window where he will have the upgrade advantage. Temple Archives on the way for Archon production. Not ready yet. And the DT harass continues. Still no cannon in the natural or in the main. These DTs, they can become a problem. Gets the Oracle. DT's waddling in. Max is doing what he does best. Trigger, caught off guard. DT waddles in. Probes are going down. This is becoming a bit much. Yeah, Trigger's attention is being split. Bleeding out a lot of Zealots. Across the map, Trigger, he does crisis manage himself quite well here, only losing 5 probes, but Trigger doesn't really have much of an economy, and he bleeds out the Stalkers. Stalkers are going down, and Trigger is getting pulled apart. GG gets called. Too many losses too quickly, and MaxPax will take game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. A very close game here, and again, it did feel like the DTs were the MVPs. As we mentioned before, the DTs didn't really deal any critical damage, but they did distract Trigger multiple times, forcing defensive reinforcements or defensive warp-ins, likewise sniping a couple of workers here and there and pulling away his attention. And with that, MaxPax was able to take advantage of Trigger and take the game. GG. GG, well played. Despite that, I'm honestly really impressed. it looks like if it wasn't for the DT harass, I feel like Trigger would have overwhelmed. He would have been able to overwhelm his opponents, would have been able to break the gold. Again, Trigger, he was doing well for himself, but alas, was kind of fraying on the edges there, and MaxPax did claw his way back in. GG, well played. And now we find ourselves in Game 2. MaxPax only needs one more to take the series to advance on into the quarterfinals. Trigger has to fight back here and now to force the ace match. Here we go. As we load into a much larger map, as we load into Golden Aura. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Golden Aura, we have the blue Protoss player. The Danish Protoss, representing Psystorm Gaming, leading the series 1-0, it is MaxPax. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the Canadian Protoss player, the red Protoss representing Basilisk, it is Trigger. We go. Overall, I did really like the movement of Trigger. Again, we spoke earlier, the moments when he took the goal base. It was a risky maneuver, but he was able to get away with it. He was able to take a better fight, able to take advantage of the gold, and he was trying to go for a very committed charge timing thereafter. But alas, barely was unable to break MaxPax. Did get a lot of economic damage, that is true, but at the same time, he was also losing probes to the DT harass, and even though he had cannons and shield batteries at the gold, didn't have them ready at the natural or the main. I remember for a long time, that's what MaxPax was known for in PvP, specifically back in 2020, 2021, even into the early kind of months of 2022, we had MaxPax just constantly making DTs work like no other in PvP. Just being so annoying, just throughout the course of a PvP, just sprinkling in like 1, 2, 3 DTs every now and then, and they do gain damage over time. Well, they gain value over time. But now, we're settling in. We're settling in. So far, everything looking normal. Both players going for gate expands. Interesting. Trigger going for the MaxPax opener on Golden Aura. Bold move. Bold move out of Trigger, but he's keeping up with his opponents. Double gas openers. Now, this is where I'm a little bit concerned. When it comes to gate expand setups like this, and if we take our initial gases, this could lead into a Stargate opener before Nexus. I say that the probe is zoned away and MaxPax will not be able to pylon block. MaxPax is going for the faster Stargate, but Trigger could try to get away with a faster expansion. Now, if Trigger also goes for a Stargate opener, and there it is, Stargate has been thrown down, and the problem is both players are aware. Both Trigger and MaxPax should be aware of the tech of choice, and this could be the beginning of Phoenix Wars. This is more commonplace on maps like Side Delta or Amphion because of the ramps coming into the natural, but given this kind of game state here on Golden Aura, because of the builds themselves, we could see Phoenixes from both players. Now, as I say that, MaxPax saw the Stargate, Trigger did not. Trigger, he did not confirm the Stargate, so there's less of a reason for Trigger to start a Phoenix. Speaking of, Phoenixes have begun for MaxPax, so that makes sense. Now, even though Trigger didn't scout, Trigger should be aware of the build, and he should be able to read that his opponent is going Phoenixes. That's 2 more gates. Oh, okay, 2 more gates for Trigger, so he's not going into Phoenix Wars. He's actually setting up for 1 base all in. Oh my god, no expansion. I just assumed that there was a Nexus and he was just going for like a gateway follow-up, but no, never mind. Phoenix has begun, that is true, but Trigger, he's massing up Stalkers. He's massing Stalkers, Phoenixes, they do run into each other. MaxPax has to back off, as Trigger has Stalkers to support. And Trigger, he's going for the all-in. He's slowly moving out. Again, trying to support that Phoenix with those Stalkers. More Stalkers going to be on the way. And MaxPax is aware. Back at what do we have? We have 1 shield battery on the low ground. We're going to have an overcharge as well. Now MaxPax, he's down in Stalker production. You can see Trigger throwing down those pylons. Very brazen with the pylons, but they're safe. Shouldn't really be threatened. Oh my god. Trigger getting a lot of damage done. Again, Trigger metagaming MaxPax here. Trying to punish the Mass Phoenix with this 1 base all in. And is it going to work? We do have a 4th gate. It's going to be a 4 gate all in. Phoenixes, they try to catch out some of these Stalkers. Alas, so far, they haven't gotten any yet. MaxPax building up energy. Stalkers moving out. How many Stalkers in total? We have 8. 8 Stalkers for Trigger. Does poke in. But there's another shield battery on the way and a Void Ray as well. It's not going to be an easy assault. Just now getting a Phoenix. Gets 1 for a Stalker. Oof. He's out of Phoenix as well so far. Better defense out of Max. He is holding. Overcharge was popped. Trigger has to respect it. He has to buy time. He has to back off. He does commit. He gets a Stalker. Gets 1. Gets a Phoenix as well. Boys are being pulled. His Mac alignment is activated. Trigger is running out of steam a little bit here. Down to 11 Stalkers. Losing another. Another Stalker goes down. And another as well. Again, Max being so meticulous with how he engages. Picking off Stalker after Stalker. And the longer this goes on, the worse it is for Trigger. And he's losing too much. Leaving out far too many Stalkers. He's trying to break through. He's running out of steam. Gets the Void Ray. Void Ray does go down. There's 4 Stalkers left. Trigger trying to break through. But there's plenty of shield batteries here. Plenty of shield batteries behind this. There's a second overcharge. GG gets called. Max will hold, will defend, and will take the series 2-0. GG. Whew. GG, well played. I am fascinated by that build. So what I find really cool is that build from Trigger was specifically designed to punish a Phoenix build from Max. So everything at the start of the game looked normal. It looked like a Gate Cyber Expand into Stargate into Phoenixes. As I was mentioning, it looked like Phoenix Wars, which is why Max made Phoenixes and why he was making more, because he assumed that that's kind of the dynamic that he was getting himself into. We saw, though, the Trigger, instead, he didn't expand. He threw down 2 more gateways. He went for a 1-base all-in. And again, that was designed to snipe Max build. That was the purpose there, clearly. But as we saw, he barely wasn't able to trade well enough. He wasn't catching the Phoenixes when he otherwise should have. Max, he was being so efficient and being so careful with his army movement, pulling back, saving his Phoenixes, saving his Stalkers, being so cost efficient. And alas, Trigger was unable to break him. Honestly, I feel like if Max had controlled any worse, then Trigger probably would have snowballed out of control. But alas, Max did just buy enough time. And again, as we mentioned, as time went on, it was better and better for Max. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations, Max will take the series. I do think that this was a very smart series overall out of Trigger. I love the builds both in Game 1 and Game 2. I'm referring to rushing into the gold and going for like a charge timing in Game 1, and here in Game 2 going for a 1-base all-in. Like, it makes sense logically, but at the end of the day, it did come down to the execution and the control of the players, and that's where Max did excel. GG, well played. Whew. And with that, Max will take the series, and we'll advance on into the quarterfinals. But that was great. I love that PvP. Like, it wasn't as I don't know, like ape-like as I feel like usually whenever we cast Max in a PvP against most Protoss players, it kind of devolves into like, you know, like a proxy Robo Immortal, like 1-base all-in against Max and he has to defend. Even though we did have an all-in in Game 2, it was a lot more specialized and was a lot more specific from Trigger, and I appreciate it. There were some mind games going on, which I do appreciate. And from here, we're getting ready for our next series. We're going to be following Max into the 3rd round. Oh boy, this portion of the bracket is progressing a little bit faster. As we head on over, it is going to be a PvP between Max and Classic. So we do scroll the bracket over, you can see here. Meanwhile, it looks like Solar did take down Creator 2-0. Solar's waiting for the winner of Beyond and Skilless. Meanwhile, again, Max and Classic are facing off in the quarterfinals. That's going to be our next series. Now, after this PvP, we might jump over to the other side of the bracket. It depends. Well, actually, yeah, it does kind of depend. What I'm referring to is that here in the WardiTV Monday, both semifinals are casted. One cannot start until we get all the casters involved. So because of that, even if like we rush into the lower semifinals, if Wardy is in a different series, the lower semis won't begin. So we will have to meet up with Wardy at some point, and meet up with whatever series he's casting. So after this PvP, we'll take a moment. We'll probably take a break. We'll try to figure out where Wardy is, and then we'll probably try and meet up. Or maybe catch another series, depending on what's going on. We shall see. Until then, we at least know our quarterfinals match. We are aware of the PvP. And once the videos are done, we'll be able to jump in. Just catching up. Just catching up. Here we go. We have our lobby, and we are getting into game one. Gonna be on Max. Oh, sorry. Gonna be on Max Packs. Gonna be on Post Youth. Will be on Post Youth. So the videos are done, and we're jumping into game number one. And again, after this series, we might hop into a different one instead. Again, we'll try to figure out where we're headed afterwards. Oh boy. And I'm curious to see how our Korean Protoss player is going to be approaching Max Pack specifically on this map. Do we have a specialized build as well, or do we embrace something like Phoenix's? We're here to find out. As spawning in the top right-hand corner of Post Youth, we have the blue Protoss player, the Danish Protoss representing Sidestorm Gaming. It is Max Packs. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the red Protoss player representing Twisted Minds. It is Classic. From South Korea. We go. So we are going to be settling in. Again, loading into Post Youth. Classic going Nexus first. Let's go. Bold move at a Classic. This is the greediest opener you can go for in PvP, but this is more viable on a map like Post Youth, just because in general, economic openers are more standard, especially when you're up against Max Packs. Max Packs, he very rarely opens up with a proxy with a one base all-in. It is a very rare sight, so I do actually really like this here for Classic, taking advantage of the tendencies of Max Packs. Max Packs will confirm, and now the pressure is on. Now suddenly the turns do table, and the pressure is on Max Packs to try to punish this. And he doesn't. Instead, he's going for his own expansion. Now his Nexus is going to be later, but not by too much. So it's going to be a gate expand out of Max Packs and Nexus first out of Classic. So we're rushing into the economies here. And we'll see where we go from here as well. Because of the openers, we might not even open Stargate. I mean, it's Max Pack, so he's most likely going to open Stargate himself. Classic does confirm the second gas. Classic still has a probe in the main, and we'll get eyes on the tech of choice. Well, ideally, as the probe takes a lot of hits. Well, Classic going to be prioritizing the high yield minerals. Does Maynard over. Does saturate. You know, Max Packs does open Stargate. Again, just kind of what he's known for. Max Packs even, let's go, taking the gas geyser. Going to be attempting to mine through these mineral patches. For those that are curious, when you have a worker with either minerals or gas, if you mine the opposite resource, it does destroy the current resource that's in its hands. So you can, with one gas geyser, mine through this with one worker. Minerals, then gas, then minerals, then gas. Make our way into the natural, or into the main. We'll see if Classic does scout this. But now Classic's in the dark. Oh! Adept slips in. Oh, the Adept starts slip in. There's nothing to defend. No! I was looking forward to embracing the game itself, but Classic had 0 units to defend, and he did not wall off in time. A little bit anticlimactic based on the opener. I was really looking forward to like sinking my teeth into that PvP, but just like that, GG, 1 adept, and MaxPax will take a lead in the series. I appreciated the greed out of Classic, but unfortunately with that greed does require the execution, of course, as well. Unfortunately, Classic unable to wall off, and that's game. I feel a little bit robbed, Papi. I feel I was looking forward to it. GG. Meanwhile, shoutouts to Falling Ninja. Thank you so much for subscribing with the tier 1 sub. Thank you so much. Do appreciate the support. Do appreciate the sub. Thank you. Thank you. Hope you enjoy the content. Hope you enjoy the StarCraft. And now we're getting into game number 2. Game of the year. Exactly. Exactly. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Dynasty, we have the Danish Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, already leading the series. Was that like a 2-minute game? Like what? how fast was that first game? Feels bad, man. With the Danish Protoss representing Sidestorm Gaming, it is MaxPax. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the red Protoss player from South Korea representing Twisted Minds. It is Classic. And we're loading into Dynasty for the first time in a long time. This is one of the most vetoed maps in the map pool, but here in this PvP, we are embracing it. And I'm curious, is anyone willing to rush into the gold? Is anyone willing here? MaxPax should be setting up for the standard expansion. Does Classic take a risk? Does he take a chance? We'll see. We'll see. I mean, Classic is a very experienced player. That game 1, I'm sure he is pretty unfazed from that, but I still feel uneasy about it. I'm like, I'm like, that shouldn't have happened, Bobby. I want my game 1 back. As a Classic is going to be opening up 2 gates. It's going to be a 2-gate opener out of Classic. Meanwhile, MaxPax going for a gate expand. As a result, Classic has the opportunity to go for an all-in. My eyes are on this probe. Does he throw down the proxy? Does he throw down the pylon? Do we go for a proxy robo 1-base all-in? Based on the pylon positioning, I'm assuming not. This isn't a bad location for a proxy Stargate, for example, but it is very far away for a robo. We'll see. We shall see, yeah, as the probe does move out. So basically a fake proxy pylon. MaxPax across the map, he is scouting, he's looking, and MaxPax, he will confirm that the pylon is missing. For all he knows, it could be real, or it could be fake. So MaxPax has to respond, he has to respect it. Stargate is on the way. Classic does pull back. Are we gonna make use of it? I'm curious. Stargate's in production. Classic opening up double stalker. Oh, we are! Proxy Twilight Council. Okay, so I assumed it might have been a proxy Stargate based on its positioning, but no, it's going to be a proxy Twilight Council instead. It is going to be committed though, and with this, Classic might even rush into a Dark Shrine. This could be a DT rush instead from the side of the red Protoss, or this could be for like a 1-base 4-gate Blink all-in, for example, which is not unheard of either. I'm leaning more towards the side of Dark Shrine though. Meanwhile, MaxPax is scouting. He did scout the top side of the map. He was looking for the pylon. Alas, didn't find it. And here it comes, Classic. Does knock, or does at least knock on the front door. Chipping away at the natural. Okay, it's gonna be Blink. Okay. So not a proxy Dark Shrine. It is gonna be Blink instead. And we should be seeing extra gateways. So far, only 2 gates. Oh my god. Okay. Okay. Let him cook, Pappy. Let him cook. Classic. Going proxy Twilight Council into Blink and going for the goal base. MaxPax will confirm. Does get eyes on the Nexus. At the same time, here comes that gateway. It's going to be a 3-gate setup so far. He's checking. No shot. He does check. He does confirm. MaxPax gets eyes on the proxy. Gets eyes on everything. Sees the 3rd gateway. Sees the researching Twilight Council. At the same time, though, Classic pushing into the natural. Does push in. Does force the overcharge. MaxPax holding on with the bare minimum. Does defend. Another pylon on the way. Is this for a proxy 4th gate? So it's just going to be 1-base 4-gate all in. 4-gate Blink all in, I should say. I'm curious. as it's getting a little bit messy here. As we have buildings everywhere across the map. Oracle threatening the gold. So far, no transfer. I feel like the gold base is a fake out, right? Like there's no attempted saturation. Oracle dips in. The KK is going to be recalling over. Oracle does confirm. No fourth gateway. Just 3. Oh! Oh, that is a brutal stasis trap. Ay, ay, ay. Catching 5 probes in the main. Does catch 5 workers. MaxPax, of course, he did scout the recall as well. He is aware. Back at home, getting into Immortal production, getting into Void Rays. Stalkers are moving out. That is a lot of Stalkers. Checking the units tab. 11 Stalkers here to 2. And he has Blink. Classic can try to break this position. Overcharge is ready. Void Ray up is going to go down. Takes 3 volleys. Void Ray for a Stalker. Not a bad trade for Classic. But again, I'm sure Classic is hoping for more. He can rotate. He can actually blink over this wall into the main. He can threaten the main base at the same time. Double Oracle hits the main. Probes are going down. 5 probe kills. Classic dives in. He can try to cripple the production. Actually going for the mineral line. Okay, going for the probes. Splits up his Stalkers, heads into both mineral lines at the same time. Probes are going down. It's going to be at the cost of Stalkers. It's going to be 11 probe kills so far. Oh god, there's no way out of this. 1 Stalker barely escapes. 13 probe kills. That isn't bad. The problem, though, is how many Stalkers went down in the process? 5. 5 Stalkers for 13 probes. MaxPax still maintains a worker lead. The gold base is helping, definitely. It's keeping Classic in this. Oof. Gets 2 more probes. 1 Oracle finally goes down. And MaxPax getting into his own aggression. Prism is on the way. His own blink as well. MaxPax has been stuck at home. He's been stuck being the defender for quite some time, but now he's finally breaking out. It's going to be on Classic to defend instead. Does have a third on the way. Again, it's just been a really chaotic game state. Oh no, and Charge is exposed! Charge is not going to finish. Brutal pickup. And Twilight Council is depowered. Not like this. You see Classic going for the Prism, does snipe it, but the Immortal does unload in time. MaxPax does preserve his units. Takes down the Twilight Council. Will deny charge. Nice force fielder. He does lock down the Immortals. Very nice positioning here out of Classic. Almost said Clem. Takes down the Immortal. Takes down the Stalkers. Better fight. Oh no! Better fight for the red Protoss, but alas, Classic was he was distracted. He was preoccupied. Massive stasis in the main. Catching almost every single probe. Not like this. Getting 3 more probe kills. Still very tense. The last MaxPax once again takes a worker lead. Getting a third. Rebuilding his Immortal count. And now moving out with his own Dark Templar. Do we have detection? Oh no. There is 0 detection. We've been here before. DTs are waddling in. There's no Observer. There's no Oracle. There is nothing to defend. DTs hit the natural. They go into the main. GG gets called as there is no response. And MaxPax will take the series 2-0. Winning it all with the Invisible Man. GG. Again, it does happen from time to time at this level of play. GG, well played. But we have seen Hero die to this. We've seen MaxPax die to this as well. But in certain scenarios, in certain game states, you just do not have detection. You delay the robo for a very long time. You don't have a Stargate. And DTs, they just end it. They just end the game straight up. It has happened to all Protoss players out there. GG, well played. It was very chaotic though. It was very chaotic. Classic, he was holding his own. He had some good moments himself, definitely, and the game definitely could have gone back and forth here if it had progressed. But GG, Max Packs will take it. Will take it in the end. And now we're getting ready for our next series. We're getting ready for our next matchup. Max Packs, he's waiting for his next opponent. It's going to be either Hero or Nightmare. That PvP is on the way. The other question becomes, where exactly is Wardy? I mentioned before that we do have to meet up with him at some point. Okay, he's on a break. Never mind. Okay, what do we have? We have... Actually, let's switch our scenes over and have a look at the bracket together. Shout out to all the other language casters that we have as well. I believe we have a Chinese caster and Coca. Coca's casting in French. We have Behemoth in English and So Bad Rush in Chinese. Let's figure out where we are. So Behemoth is covering Trap versus Clem. That is in the upper half of the quarterfinals. And meanwhile, Coca is casting something else. I think also, yeah, of course. Coca also casting Trap versus Clem. Makes sense. Coca's always there for his boy. Wardy is on a break, and we could either jump into game 2 of Trap versus Clem. The other casters are in game 1, so we could jump into game 2, or we could try and catch Hero versus Nightmare. Let's head on over to the Korean region and see if we can find them. Likewise, Björn and Skillus, also mid-series. But it looks like the lower semifinals is going to be ready first, so we should probably focus on that. I do see Nightmare out of game. Nightmare is out of game. So is Hero. Did they finish or are they starting? That's the question. Also, my apologies. There are some updates to go over. Nightmare took down Cure 2-1. Nightmare advancing on into the next round. Hero took down Ryung 2-0 as well. So they're currently mid-series. Clem took down Geralt 2-0. And Trap took down Gumiho 2-0 as well. Okay. I have confirmation. Hero and Nightmare, they have not begun yet. They are currently conducting their vetoes, and they're about to start their series. Welcome to the WardiTV Protoss Cup. There's a lot of PvPs. A lot of PvPs tonight. But, that means we have our next series. Hero and Nightmare. Beautiful. And again, the winner goes up against Max Packs. Looks like the vetoes are done. Quickly setting up. Beautiful. And we are jumping in. And again, most likely after this series, we'll meet up with Wardy and the others. We'll meet up with them. Just catching up with the chat. Siema, papi, siema. So someone's saying in the chat, wish Max X would play offline. It's a shame Protoss doesn't have top tier representation in that department. I would say Hero definitely represents Protoss very well. Like if you didn't watch EWC, then maybe you would be unfamiliar. But Hero, he had honestly really good games at the Esports World Cup. Really good performances. Oh no! But meanwhile, I apologize. I did forget to turn on my VPN. God damn it. I was forgetting something. But we're jumping into our fresh best of 3 series and spawning in the top right hand corner of Ghost River. We have our South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss representing Weibo Gaming. It is Hero. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing Streamer Zone. It is Nightmare. God damn it. If you're in the chat, predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will take the series. Best of luck in the chat. Meanwhile, I do apologize. As you can see in game, it does freeze every now and then. That is just the connection to the Korean server. I do apologize. For the previous games that we casted, for the Trigger series, for example, I did have my VPN on for that, so everything was smooth. And because we were casting on the America server for Max Packs, I forgot to turn it back on. So I do apologize. Did forget to turn it back on, so as a result, game 1 is going to be a little bit choppy. It's going to be a little bit choppy, but should be fixed for game 2. And onwards as well. But I do apologize. Now we are settling in. It's going to be a 2-gate opener out of Hero. Likewise, 2-gate opener out of Nightmare as well. And we'll see where our players take us from here. Unlike the previous PvPs that we were casting, there's no one rushing into like a gate expand into a faster nexus. It's a much more different dynamic here than we're used to seeing with Max Packs. He does lead to more unique games just because of his playstyle. Just because of his preferences. We have a unit of choice. It's going to be Stalker Adept out of Hero. Likewise, Double Stalker out of Nightmare. There we go. Double Stalker out of Nightmare. With this in a head-on fight, Nightmare, he will be able to overwhelm. Meanwhile, Hero across the map is going to be just a little bit more middle of the road. Trying to shade across with that initial Adept. To try to maintain himself. Hero does move out. Nightmare getting in position. You see Hero trying to avoid with the Adept. Trying to skirt around. Last will shade across. You know, Nightmare going to be expanding, taking his natural. Likewise, so is Hero. Shade is denied. And we can settle in from here. See the chat. Love the energy you put into casting, man. Good job. Well, thank you, Soul Goodman. Thank you. Thank you. You're a good lawyer. I do appreciate it. Glad you enjoy the casting. Glad you enjoy it. As Hero back at home, going to be going for a Robo Opener instead. With a faster Robo can lead into a fast Warp Prism to harass into the mineral line or into early Immortal production. Likewise, Nightmare doing the same. Also going for his own Robo. Meanwhile, does realize he's under threat, so recalls back home. 3 Stalkers pushing in for Hero. Does have Force Fields, does lock down one of the Stalkers. Shield Battery does finish up just in time. Shield Battery is ready, and Nightmare will defend. Oh, I say that. Oh my god. Stalker taking a lot of hits. Nightmare does hold, forcing Hero back. Hero turning the tables, catching a sentry, trading 1 for 1. It's going to be a 1-for-1 trade. Nightmare saturating his natural. Getting into his own immortals. Hero will have a slight immortal lead as his is already halfway done. Let's say Nightmare, let's say Hero. Hero will have that immortal lead. And Nightmare actually going War Prism first. Interesting. Nightmare has not seen the tech, is actually unaware of what's going on. As Hero has his first immortal, second immortal's on the way. No third base yet. Nightmare trying to get some scouting information. Hero already moving out. He's rallying across the map. Nightmare without War Prism, he can juggle his units, but he does get caught out. The Prism! Oh my god. Prism taking some hits. Hero pushing up the ramp. And he does get up. Yeah, force feels a little bit too late. Catches out the sentries. Massive pickoffs. Yeah, 2 sentries go down. The 3rd sentry as well. Ay, ay, ay. And here, he can snowball from here. We have a wall of shield batteries on the way, but it might just be too late. Hero pushing in. Oh. Does push in, takes out a sentry. Gets 1. Getting into the middle line. Getting a little bit shaky here as Nightmare does come in from behind. Catching out the sentries. Hero may be overextended, but he does get 13 probes. It does recall back home, saves the Immortal. Getting 17 probe kills across the map. Oh my god. 17 probes, losing 6 workers back at home. Hero, he defends, he attacks, takes a worker lead. Both players still on 2 bases. So far, it does trade well. Likewise, going for the Immortal drop. He's safe and sound. Bearing in mind, Nightmare has no blink, so Nightmare can't really threaten the War Prism. Prism shouldn't go down. As Hero gets a Stalker. Gets another probe. Gets 2. Gets 3. Yeah, 3 more probes going down. Oh my god. Hero, calm down. Almost overextends. Back at home, Hero could just try to expand. I mean, he's still ahead economically. Doesn't need to yet. Nightmare hasn't expanded either. Going for his own counter drop. Hero working towards blink. Hero is setting up. Frame drops only on my side. No, that's it's our connection to the Korean server. So that should be fixed for game 2, but I do apologize here for game 1. Oof. I did forget to turn on I forgot to turn on my VPN for game 1, so I do apologize. Still apologize. So Prism does get away. And again, Hero, he gets 3 more probe kills. Still maintains his economy. Can now take a 3rd. Building up more Immortals. And Hero opting not to expand. He's just building up. He's just getting ready for one massive move out. The Prism! Oh my god. Calm down. Prism does escape just barely. On 2 HP. Ay, ay, ay. War Prism will get away, and here we go. Hero, he's moving out with a massive army. He's up 20 supply. 20 army supply. The move out is spotted. Nightmare, he won't have the Immortals to defend back at home. He's going to have to recall. For now, dropping into the main. Risky move. And what is it to defend? There's 1 Immortal. Shield batteries weren't rebuilt. They're still being made. Ay, ay, ay. Hero, he's going in. Catches the sentry. Blinks away. Immortal drop into the main. But there's a defensive warping available as well. The Prism, no! Prism goes down. 2 Immortals, and there's almost nothing left. Ay, ay, ay. Nightmare loses too much. Massive force field shuts down the Immortal. Gets both Immortals. Boys are being pulled. There's the overcharge. But there's barely an army. GG gets called, and Hero will take game number 1. GG. And I will very quickly turn on my VPN. Hold on. 1 moment. And we should be good to join. Okay, there we go. Whew. There we go. We're getting ready for game number 2 again. Hero does take a lead. Again, it was a very interesting game. Both players are opening up quite similarly. Both players are opening up Robo, of course, but Hero was able to take the advantage early on. If you recall, even though both players opened up Robo, Hero went for faster Immortal production, and Nightmare went for a faster War Prism instead. As a result, with the initial move out here, he was able to get an economic lead, was able to shut down the initial sentries, the Stalkers, get economic damage, and he just kept the pressure up, kept the pressure on. Did snowball out of control, and now we're getting to game number 2. And spawning into the bottom right-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the blue Protoss. Look at how smooth it is. Oh, look at that. So again, I apologize for the frame drops in the last game, but here, no issues, no problems. We have representing Weibo Gaming, it is Hero. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the red Protoss player from South Korea representing Streamer Zone, it is Nightmare. But yeah, basically, when casting events like this, and whenever we switch from like Korea to America to Korea to America, depending on which players we're casting, I do have to like turn my VPN on and off and on and off and on and off again, depending on what region we're in. So because we were casting Max Facts earlier, I forgot to do so for game 1, but now it should be fine for game 2. Should be fine. This is where like I jinx myself and like I DC out or something. No. Could happen, could happen. What have I done? As it is going to be a 2-gate opener from Nightmare, likewise 2-gate opener from Hero. Openers all around. And we saw in the previous game this led into a bit of a different dynamic with Hero opening up Stalker Adept, but I would not be surprised if we open up Stalker Sentry instead this time. Go for a different approach. So probe does dip in. Let's try to get a read of what's going on. Does get eyes on the second pylon. Same can be said for Nightmare. And we have our units of choice. Nightmare once again opening up double Stalker, and Hero opening up, this time, double Adept. Now, the goal of these two Adepts is to bypass the initial units of Nightmare, to get past them, to get into the mineral line, and to threaten those workers. At the same time, it's going to be on Nightmare to catch the Adepts. When Hero, he's doubling down. He's not just opening up double Adept, he's opening up double Adept and a Stargate as well, going for Oracle Harass. It's going to be Adepts plus Oracles to get economic damage. As a result, the expansion is going to be more delayed for Hero. Likewise, so is the tech. This typically leads into a Robo into Immortal production just because Blink is going to be so late. We'll see how this turns out, how this unfolds. As Nightmare moves out and is getting ready for his expansion. So again, Nightmare initially will have the better economy with a faster expansion, but that's where the Adepts and Oracles come into play. That's where Hero is looking for economic damage. Adepts are moving out. Stalker is hunting down the probe. They're out of position. Uh-oh. They're not at home. Chasing down that worker. Adepts say threaten to shade, but Nightmare, he does wall off in time. Ooh, just barely. Does wall off. Hero still gets 1. He gets 2 probe kills. Not bad. Will shade away. Will attempt to. Oh. Will shade in the end. Does manage to escape. Stalker still on the map. And the Oracle has arrived. Looks like Hero, he does manage to get out. Does manage to escape. Oracle making its way across the map is caught out by the Stalkers. Very nice hold damage here on the Oracle. Oh my god. Sentries as well. Nightmare forced to recall back home. Adepts, they do shade across the map, getting another probe. Doing another worker. Adepts still alive. Getting very nice damage here out of Hero. It's nothing major, but damage nonetheless. Does preserve his units. But back at home, Nightmare, he gets in. That should not have happened. 3 probes go down. Just like that, Nightmare maintains a worker lead. All it takes is one wrong moment, one wrong step. And that can cost you the game. So Nightmare takes the lead. Hero reinforcing with more Stalkers. Hero has been cutting some worker production in favor of this, and Nightmare is going to be down in army. Oh, no shield battery. No shield battery on the low ground. Adepts, they distract the main army, and Hero, he hits the natural. And going for the mineral line. Gets 5 probes. What did I say? 5, getting up to 7, 8, 9. Oh my god. Almost 10. Force wheels, they do slice up the army. They do catch 1 Stalker. 2 2 for 1. Better trade for Nightmare, but he did lose 9 probes. Once again, Nightmare trying to look down the army. Hero does have to get the hell out of here. Does pull away. The stasis! Ooh. Catches out the Stalkers. Hero does survive. And the Oracle comes back in. Hero, he just walks past the army, going for the mineral line once again. Hero, he wants the sentry. He wants it. He'll settle for some probes. Gets 2 more probes. Pulls away. Stasis about to run out. Hero recalls back home. Very nice damage here out of Hero. Ooh. And as the dust settles, Hero does take a worker lead. And Nightmare went behind. What do? We Dark Shrine. We go for the DT. We pull up max packs. Dark Shrine has been thrown down. So far, Hero has not scouted. You can see Nightmare looking for the Oracle as well, attempting to hunt it down. Is being active. Is looking. Likewise, back at home, Hero has yet to take a third base, just throwing down additional gateways, making sure he's secure. Oh! Nice blink. Oracle falls. Now, what's important here, it isn't just the Oracle falling, it also means that Hero does not go back into the main, and he does not scout the Dark Shrine. If the Oracle was alive, potentially he could have gone in. He could have gone in, he could have scouted. On top of that, without the Oracle, no revelation. No revelation here, but there is an observer. There is detection, at least one. Now, Hero could always recall it back home if need be. Proxy gateway is being set up to reinforce across the map. And Hero, he might end up having to recall, we'll see. See how many DTs get warped in as well. Both players expanding, both players taking a third. Dark Shrine is done. He scouts! No shot! Hero with the probe scout does confirm. The observer is still actually sieged. Gateway's gonna be shut down. DTs are revealed, going for the Immortal. Not a bad pickoff. Immortal goes down. Yeah, massive pickoff. Hero is in trouble. Nice blink, catching out the Stalkers. Nightmare picking Hero apart. Hero does not get the Archon. He does reinforce with more Stalkers, catching out Nightmare, at least trying to. But still pretty efficient pickoffs here from the Red Protoss. Getting Stalkers, getting the Immortal. He was hoping for economic damage, but still not bad. Hero rotates back around. Nightmare pushing forward. As Hero is distracted, Nightmare trying to come in from behind, going for a depth harass. Alas, Hero does spot this. Will respond. Hero working towards charge. Force +1 as well. I mean, both players' armies are comparable, but Nightmare, he has not started charge of his own. Just purely blink Stalker into Immortal. Very gas-intensive army. Charge should soon be on the way for our Red Protoss player. Soon. This here is fully saturated. Throwing down more gates. Getting a 4th base as well. Ay, ay, ay. Hero will force Nightmare back. Let's force him back. Nightmare looking for another way and does catch some transferring workers. Not bad. Probes are going down. Hero out of position. Getting up to 5 probe kills. Hero trying to catch out the army. That picks up a couple of Stalkers. Nightmare still has not resource charge. At this point, I don't think it's intentional. Those are slow lots, and I don't think they're not meant to be. They're not meant to be slow. And so lots are trickling in. Charge is coming in for Hero, and he's going to be able to overwhelm. Hero pushing on through. I mean, the Zealous is still tanking some shots. True. Prism has arrived. Archon goes down. He's going for a massive warping of Zealots. And Zealots, they do just such an amazing job of just tanking shots. Here, he wants the Immortals. Force fields do keep him back. Not bad. Nightmare holding on. Immortals are exposed. First Immortal goes down. Here, he gets one. He gets two. But it does cost him a lot of Stalkers. Nightmare does take the fight. Breaks through the Zealots, takes down the Prism. And Hero has to back off. Here, he's forced back. He lost a lot in that fight. Again, the force fields were brutal. I mean, they were quite heavily in favor of Nightmare. There we go, charge, now halfway done. Nightmare quickly rushing into it. Rushing into charge loads, getting into +2. I believe Nightmare, yeah, he did keep his Immortal counts looking quite healthy. Still with 2 Immortals. Hero instead going to try and supplement with mainly charge lots. I mean, both players are. And neither one has teched into a Temple Archives yet. There we go. Temple Archives now on the way for Hero for Archon production. But there is a window. There is a window where Hero does not have Archons. And Nightmare can take advantage of that. With a mass amount of Zealots. Nightmare rotating around and catching out more Zealots as well. 3 Zealots go down. Hero trying to be active. Trying to catch out Nightmare. Jesus, so many Zealots here. Checking the units tab. 26! 26 Zealots here for Nightmare. Ay, ay, ay. The Archons are ready. Nightmare is pushing. Meanwhile, from the side of Hero, no Archons yet. Without Archons, I'm not sure if Hero can actually hold on. Yeah, I'm not so sure. Nightmare rotating around. Going for the third. Zealots, they dive in. Now we do have shield batteries. We have an overcharge. Overcharge is popped, but Stalkers, they get caught against the Zealots. Again, no Archons to defend. Nightmare, can he break through? I mean, the overcharge, it puts in a lot of work. Hero, he's holding. I don't think he can fight this head on. Not without the help of his shield batteries, but he does hold on. Hero is still down in army supply. Nightmare trying to force the army out. Rotating over towards the third. Hero is keeping up. Now has morphed in his first Archon. First Archon has arrived. Just the one though. It's a delicate dance. Nightmare doesn't want to throw away too much. And pushes into a concave. Nightmare has to back up. And now here he has a comparable army size. Still has to respect those Archons. So Nightmare, he has got 4 of them with his army. But he is forced back. Again, just really patient play out of Hero there. Always fighting within range of his shield battery, with a concave as well. Never chasing Nightmare. And Hero, he's recovered. He has since recovered. There was a period where he was like down, what, 20, 30 army supply. But he's built back up with a healthy Immortal count. More Archons. This could still go either way. Hero has not started +3. +3 is almost halfway done for Nightmare. That can be a deciding factor. As Hero bleeds out Zealots. At the same time pushing on the right-hand side. Nightmare does respond. And Nightmare catches out the Stalkers. He's got plenty of Archons to defend on the left-hand side. Neither player going to Disruptors or anything crazy like that. Just charge Archon. Gateway-based armies. Speaking of Hero, he is breaking through. He's coming in from behind. Yeah, he comes in for a flank. And Nightmare, he's out of position. The Archons know where they need to be. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, Nightmare, he had his army split in half. That was a better engage here for Hero. But the rest of the Archons have arrived. Hero has to respect it. He has to back off. Yeah, that's a lot of Archons. Ay, ay, ay. Hero pulls away. Does save his immortals. Falls back to his shield batteries. Still has to play careful. Nice Archon volleys on those Zealots. And geez, Nightmare, he's so heavily Archon based here. Gets caught out. One Archon goes down, Zelarama hits the fourth, sorry, hits the fifth. At the same time, Nightmare, he goes for the center expansion as well. Yeah, catching Hero out of position. The base is going to be going down. Hero, he has to back off. Takes down the Zealots, does get the expansion. Trading base for a base. But Hero, he's stuck on the wrong side of the map here. Is forced to fight away from the shield batteries. And a massive fight in favor of Nightmare. He catches out the Immortals, and that's it. That's all that Hero had left. The Immortals, the Archons. The Hero's out positioned. GG gets called, and Nightmare will take game number 2, tying up the series 1-1. GG. GG, well played again. Hero, he just found himself in a really awkward position. He pushed on the right-hand side, so he found himself on the other side of the army, away from his own shield batteries, away from the overcharge. We saw that that's how Hero was able to take these fights with the help of his static defense. But he was out position there at the end, and Nightmare did pull him apart. GG. GG, well played. We're going to game 3. We are going to the ace match. Let's go. And we'll see how this story ends. As we're loading into Golden Aura. Let's go. And this could still go either way. Here we go. Hero out positioned himself. There was some out positioning happening. You're not wrong. Did overextend. If you recall, I don't think it was an intentional bait, but basically everything turned south. If you remember, Nightmare, he had 2 Archons that were lagging behind because they were like a late warp in, and Hero, he caught the Archons by moving out on the right hand side, but that did drag his army out into the open, and it allowed Nightmare to come in from behind and get on top of the expansion. So that was the moment there where Hero thought he was catching some Archons, and he was, true, but wasn't quite worth it as he moved his entire army over to respond to that. And here we go. We're getting into the ace match, and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Golden Aura, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Weibo Gaming. It is Hero. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the Red Protoss player, representing Streamer Zone from South Korea. It is Nightmare. Here we go. Here on 3 gases. Yeah, this is basically in PvP there is this swarm toss style where you stay on 3 gases for a very long time. The idea, the hope at least, when you're staying on such a low gas count is that you preserve your gas units. So over time you preserve and you build up your immortal count and your Archon count. And because you're on so low gases, you reinforce with like wave after wave of pure Zealot. As we saw, Nightmare did adjust. He was doing the same thing. He was doing the exact same thing for the most part, but Nightmare did take an extra gas geyser at his 4th base, if I recall correctly, which is why Nightmare was able to afford so many more Archons, because he did take extra gases. It was just going more Archon heavy. Basically, Nightmare had identified that Hero was going like mass charge, like he was staying on low gases, going mass charge lots, and Nightmare, he did respond by going into a heavier Archon count instead. Here we go. So we are going to be settling in, and so far 2-gate opener. 2-gate opener out of Nightmare, likewise 2-gate opener out of Hero. We have a use of choice, going to be Double Stalker against Double Stalker, and this time the turns have tabled. If you recall, last game it was Hero that opened up Double Adept into Stargate, into Oracle production. This time Nightmare, ooh, never mind, did open Stargate initially, but he cancels. Okay, does cancel the Stargate instead, opting to go, I imagine, for a faster expansion. Does open up Double Adept behind this. Hero opening up Robo, does go for a Robo opener instead. Yeah, Nightmare is going to go for the faster expansion. So as a result, Nightmare will have the better economy, but I'm concerned. I'm very concerned because Hero is not expanding. That is not just a robo, that's a third gateway. One base all in. Hero is going for the one base all in, and Nightmare happens to be going for a greedy build with the faster Nexus. Oh boy. Okay. We'll see if Nightmare can survive this, as he went Nexus before Tech. I mean, he was going Stargate, but did cancel it in the end. Did think better of it. And now I'm concerned. Nightmare's still trying to figure out what's going on. Still has not scouted the lack of expansion. War Prism's on the way. Adepts have arrived. And Nightmare, he needs to scout, and he will. The Adepts, they should confirm the lack of Nexus. Oh, they shade into the main. Even better. I'm kind of. Shade into the main base, getting some economic damage. They scout the tech. They scout almost the gateway. But Nightmare, he doesn't see the gateway, but seeing all those stalkers is a tell. He should know. We need shield batteries. We need shield batteries. We need to hold. We need to defend. Hero's moving out with the all-in. Nightmare has one shield battery so far. Is going for a robo response for immortal production. I would feel more confident if there was a second shield battery, not gonna lie. I'm a little bit concerned. As Adepts get into the mineral line. Hero reinforcing. 2 probes go down. Hero is pushing in. And that shield battery is exposed. Shield battery is going to be targeted down. Nice juggling so far. Shield battery pulse, no overcharge. The force fields. The force fields are brutal, and Nightmare, he's locked out of his natural. He's stuck in the main. Immortal has arrived. With the help of the Immortal, can Nightmare hold? Immortal adding on to DPS, but there's another warp in. Hero pulling back, takes out the Stalker. There's 3 units left here for Nightmare. Yeah, 1 Immortal, 1 Stalker, 1 Adept. The Sentry warps in a little bit too late. Oh, nice force field, though. Does zone away the Stalkers. Nightmare, he holds on to the main. What about the natural? The Immortal does survive. Hero warping in sentries, he can force field the ramp. Second Immortal has arrived as well. And Nightmare, he might lose the natural, but remember, Hero is 1 base all in. The natural's not the biggest loss for Nightmare. He can still hold. He can still survive. Hero... Oh my god. Going for the pylon. Stalkers are so low. Oh, does get it. Pylon goes down. Nightmare going for a counterattack. He's crazy. Sending out Adepts. Oh, he thought about it. There we go. He does drop the Adepts off. They're making their way across the map. Nightmare does defend. Loses the natural. Hero pulling away. And Hero is attempting to expand. He's trying to transition out of this. The Adepts have arrived. The wall is wide open. No! The Adepts! They could have got in. A bit of miscontrol there to Nightmare. A little bit distracted. The Prism gets into the main. Probes are going down. Likewise, those Stalkers going to be left on their own. And Hero's controlling across the map. Trading with the army. Oof, Immortal goes down. Nice control out of Nightmare. No! The Prism goes down! With both Immortals! Not like this! The Prism falls! That was what? 2 Immortals? Yeah, 2 Immortals do fall. Nightmare losing almost everything. He's got 1 Immortal left. And no expansion. Aye. He's on 1 base. He's down in army. GG gets caught. A brutal loss for Nightmare. Losing the full War Prism, and Hero will take the series 2-1. GG. GG, well played. Hero will take the series. Was a very intense game number 3 there. Could have gone either way, to be honest. There were definitely good moments for Nightmare. If you recall, there was that moment where he could have even counterattacked across the map, shading into the mineral lines. He was defending his main base, but things got very chaotic. There was a lot going on across the map and back at home, and in the end, Hero, he did shut down the aggression. Did snowball out of control. GG. GG, well played. Hero does advance on into the semi-finals, and the question becomes, what are we casting? Let's find out. Where is Wardy? What's going on, Pappy? Wardy, he is in game 2 of Solo versus Bjorn, so we will either be jumping into game 3 or into the semis. As I mentioned before, the semifinals are held. So quickly switching our scenes over. Hero versus Max Pax is kind of ready for us in a way. Max Pax is ready with Hero. They can conduct their vetoes, but they will not start. They won't start. We're going to be casting both semifinals one after the other, and all the casters are going to be coming together. We're all going to be coming together here. Meanwhile, we have an update. Clem takes down Trap 2-1. Trap did take a map. Shout out to Trap, did take a map, but Clem did win it in the end, advancing on to the upper semifinals. And again, the other casters are currently in Game 2 of Solar versus Beyond. Solar is up 1-0. If Solar takes the series, then we head into the semis. If Beyond takes Game 2, then we will be jumping into Game 3. Like, we will join the other casters and we'll be jumping in to that third game. So that is the plan. Otherwise, GG. GG, well played. Shout out to Nightmare, of course. It was a close PvP, a close best of. But we do need a moment to set everything up here. And of course, shout out to Wardy for hosting the event as well. For hosting the WardiTV Mondays. Again, it's kind of funny how we all stepped in to host weeklies, but we all hosted like the opposite regions, if that makes sense. So what I mean by that, we have Wardy, who's from Europe, hosting a weekly more catered towards the Korean region. Then we had Steadfast from the Americas hosting a weekly for the European region, and then we have us from Australia hosting a weekly for the Americas region. So like, we all stepped in, but in very different ways, and we all kind of like headed in different directions, and we probably could have had a little bit more cohesion, but it's fine. It's perfectly fine. We got there in the end. It's messy, but it works. It works. But just setting up for Solar versus Beyond, and because of that as well, we have some downtime. We have some downtime. We are going to be lying in wait and waiting for Solar versus Beyond to wrap up. Again, we might jump in mid-series, or we'll just follow the winner into Clem. When it comes to the upper semis and lower semis, I don't know which is going to begin first. I would assume the lower semifinals because it is ready earlier. So I would assume that's where we begin, but we'll see. Still uncertain as of that. So until then, we're going to be going on a short break. We're going to be going on a break, and you can take this moment to get some snacks, get some water, drain your disruptors, massage your marines, and hydrate hydras. When we return, we will have our next series. Not too sure what yet, but we'll have some StarCraft. We'll have some StarCraft of some kind. So until then, see you soon. See you soon. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that break. Hope you enjoyed that lovely brutal OST as we have returned with the beginning of the end, with the semifinals, the first of two semifinals, and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Site Delta, we have the Danish Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Storm Gaming. It is MaxPax. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the Red Protoss player representing Weibo Gaming. It is Hero. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It's time to get your gamba going because predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will take the series. Will it go the way of one Protoss or the other? Again, Hero and MaxPax, they are the top two Protoss players in the world. At times, you could argue one over the other, definitely, but they are the top two indisputably. And we'll see who comes out on top in this best of three. We're loading into Site Delta. You know what that means? That means a gate expand. That means gate expand from MaxPax, gate expand from Hero. Now, we could see Hero try to catch MaxPax off guard and deviate into a one base all-in, but for the most part, if this was a standard PvP, I would assume gate expands, I'd assume double gas, I would assume Stargate openers and Phoenix Wars. Speaking of, second gas guys was taken for Hero, so he does have access to faster tech. MaxPax staying on one gas, and we see why, because he goes for the Nexus. Ooh, very fast Nexus here out of MaxPax, going gate expand. Meanwhile, Hero going gate cyber expand instead. So already MaxPax will take an economic lead. He will take that economic lead. Again, MaxPax, he skipped the second gas geyser to afford a faster Nexus. Hero was late to block, he was late to react, late to respond. He was unable to stop the expansion, and now the pressure is on Hero. Hero has to make a choice. Does he embrace a one base all-in? Does he play from behind? We have the answer. Goes down the Nexus, will be slightly behind in the worker count in the economy. So again, it's not as ideal here for a Hero, but is going to be what he's going for. Is his build of choice. MaxPax behind this should be going for, yep, his second gas geyser into a Stargate, into Oracle Harass, and we can settle into Site Delta. Can it settle in? There's a Stargate now on the way. Again, I'm a little bit surprised that this map was allowed through the veto process. I mean, at the same time, I feel like if you're up against MaxPax, if you want to open up economically yourself, then maps like Site Delta, Amphion, Post-Youth, they would make a little bit more sense. True. If you didn't want to go for one base all-in. And Hero is going for his tech of choice. Not a Stargate, Hero is going Twilight Council. So Twilight Council opener out of Hero, working towards Blink. And again, MaxPax has access to Oracles to harass, to settle into his mid-game. So we are settling in. There's no one base all-in or any kind of crazy aggression yet. Not in this game, not so far. Meanwhile, I did gloss over it, but we did have a result coming in, and Solar did take down Beyond 2-0. Solar has made it to the upper semifinals, and after this series, we'll be casting Solar versus Clem. So we have our top four players this week. It's going to be Hero, MaxPax, Solar, and Clem. Oh boy. So we're nearing the end of the broadcast. We have two semifinals remaining and then the grand final. So 3 series left. As Hero does go for the full wall. Interesting. Does let the shield battery finish. Dev's going to be poking in. At the same time, Blink is on the way. Likewise, the first Oracle has arrived. Second Oracle's in production. MaxPax making his way into the main. And Hero, is he ready? He is. Yeah, the Stalkers are in position. Hero does zone MaxPax away. So far, so good. We can see MaxPax chipping away at the wall, but just gets some shield damage. Is forced back. Hero does defend. Now, what's important to take note of here is that with a second Oracle, you can one-shot probes. 2 Oracles can one-shot workers. Even with a shield battery in position, it's not going to be as easy to defend and minimize losses. As second Oracle heads towards the natural, Stalker's out of position, distracted by the Adepts, and probes are going down. Probes are falling. 3 probe kills already. A good start for MaxPax. MaxPax takes an economic lead. He already had the faster expansion, and now he's rushing into a third. So MaxPax getting further ahead, being very greedy here, and so far is getting away with it. Is getting away with that greed. Meanwhile, Hero goes for a safety third gateway. I say safety, this can turn into aggression. We could see a 4th gateway, and we could see Hero just double down and commit. But for now, just a 3rd gate. From here, he should be breaking out and expanding. You can see Hero trying to catch out to that Oracle. attempting to at least. And Hero will get a bit of hull damage, but barely any. So Oracle will get away, and Hero can now expand. But again, MaxPax is ahead when it comes to that third base timing. Hero confirms MaxPax's base is almost done, and Hero's is only just beginning. So again, MaxPax just perpetually one step ahead economically this game, with a faster Nexus, faster third, economic damage. Now the advantage that Hero has for the time being is Blink, but that advantage is about to be gone, as MaxPax is catching up with his own Blink timing. Blink is finishing up, so the upgrades are going to be even. MaxPax does move out, looking to try and knock down that third base. Hero does spot it. Hero, he has his own safety immortal, thankfully. Does bleed out a Stalker though. Immortal's in position, Adept's throwing a shade into the natural at the same time. And this is really a distraction more than anything. And Adepts, they do shade in! Shade into the natural. Probes are going down. 3, 4 probe kills. Can we get 5? It's gonna be close. Not quite, but 4 probes nonetheless. Stasis in the main, catching 3 probes as well. Yeah, MaxPax maintaining that economic lead, and with that, that can snowball into an army lead. So Hero just having a hard time keeping up here. Forced to be the defender. Forced to react to MaxPax. So MaxPax pushing right down the middle. Pushing towards the natural. Again, the immortal count is still in favor of Hero. So in a head-on fight, I do favor Hero, but MaxPax really just trying to distract. Once again, 2 Adepts on the left, double Oracle on the right. Stalkers poke in. And MaxPax does go for the shade. And just picking away at the economy, getting another 3 probes, getting another 4 probes. Ah, God. 5 more probes going down. Just a non-stop Adept harass.